Welcome. I hope you're doing well. Today I'm going to talk about my January TBR. Last week I talked about my book goals for this channel as well as reading, and we are in full swing. I've actually been doing really well. I'm not trying to jinx myself. This is my first year where I can read in the peace and quiet of my own home because there are no loud neighbors above us. So I'm going to start off with the one book that I have a physical copy of, and that is Financial Feminist by Tori Dunlap. This is a signed copy. Didn't realize it. I picked this up at Barnes & Noble. I've been very hesitant to buy any physical books because of my lack of space. That's why one of my biggest goals for this year is to focus on my e-reader because I don't have space for books currently, unless it's a book that I absolutely love or that is a special edition of it. In this case, this was $10 because this was during Barnes & Noble's hardcover sale, and everything I wanted was in paperback. I could not find any hardcover items, and it was also super crowded, so this is the only thing that I picked up. But $10 is an absolute steal, especially because it's a signed copy. So basically, this is just a guide, having financial confidence, learning how to budget, learning how to invest, learning how to not be struggling paycheck to paycheck, and all of that resonates with me. So I decided to pick it up, and I do like this. Sometimes self-help books are very tricky for me because I feel like they have a lot of toxic positivity, or they're written from a point of view of someone who is disconnected with real life and what anyone who has like a 40-hour week job, or like an actual like 9-to-5 job experiences. And I feel like this is very different, where Tori really, first of all, recognizes her privilege. Second of all, kind of breaks down like the systemic issues that we have specifically in the US when it comes to race and how that impacts how much money you make, how you're treated, also being a woman. And I am very much enjoying it, even though she does warn you that this is not a book that you should read from to back in one sitting. You should take your time with it because there are exercises that you should be doing along as you're reading the book. So I am going to take it easy. I'm probably not going to finish this by the end of January. So far, I am on page 55, which is not bad. I'm in the spending chapter. So I'm hoping to take some lessons out of this. I'm trying to be very open-minded, very mindful about my money. And we will see where that takes me. Next book I have is on my Kindle. I'm obsessed with my cover. I think it's like the cutest little thing. I love The Little Prince. So I am currently on page 118, chapter 6 of Babel, which is a book that I didn't know anything about when I picked it up. I just thought the cover looked really beautiful, and I ended up buying the Kindle version just because I knew that book was heavy. I had seen it at Barnes & Noble, and I didn't want to have to carry it around all day knowing that I was barely going to read it while I'm in transit. The full title is Babel, or The Necessity of Violence: An Arcane History of the Oxford Translators Revolution. So I had no idea what that meant. I just had heard that it was like dark academia, and that was it, and that's all I needed. I think if I had read the little blurb a little bit more closely, I probably wouldn't have picked it up because it's just not something I gravitate towards. I have never really read dark academia, but I was pleasantly surprised. I am zooming through this book, and it is quite long. By the way, the Barnes & Noble edition is actually gorgeous, and it kind of makes me regret buying the ebook instead. Basically, you're following a protagonist named Robin Swift. This book has to do with colonialism, our protagonist, and his discovery and realization that he is surrounded by people that don't have the best interest at heart. And this is just tip of the iceberg stuff that I'm giving you. I honestly feel like it's better going into the book without really knowing what it's about. So I will say it's about colonialism, racism, stereotypes, prejudice, opportunities, and how they are distributed in society. Basically what I was talking about earlier, systemic racism and all these opportunities, and it's very subtle. Some of it's very subtle, some of it's very in your face, but I love the writing style. This is the same author who wrote The Poppy War, which I read the first one out of that trilogy. I really love it so far. I cannot wait to do a full review because there's just so much information, so much going on that I don't want to accidentally spoil anything, and I feel like the less you know, the better this book is. I was reading Children of Time last month, which is a sci-fi first contact with aliens, and I just can't get into it. I think it's really good. I just think for me personally at this time and place, it just wasn't really clicking. I didn't have it for now. Next book is De Hacienda, Isabel Canas. First of all, the cover of this looks very beautiful, very reminiscent of Mexican Gothic from last year, or was it the year before? Either way, I got both of these books through Book of the Month, which I no longer have. It's supposed to be like a ghost story, a supernatural suspense set right after the Mexican War of Independence. So it's like a haunted mansion house, and our main character is named Rebecca. I don't know much about it. I don't want to know. Just as I enjoyed Mexican Gothic last year, or whatever the year before that, I tend to love these books. Even if they're slow burns and they're just more atmospheric, I am totally down. And it's been sitting on my shelf at my husband's house for so long that I feel like it's time that I finally just digged right in, especially because I don't think it's too long and I am in the mood for something spooky. Halloween, October, it's my favorite time of year and I really miss it right now. So those are the books that I'm reading. I do have 2 books that I requested at the library, but they're still pending. One of them is a classic actually by Jane Austen. It is Persuasion. I've only known Pride and Prejudice from Jane Austen, but I was recently looking at a movie review for the recent adaptation of Persuasion, the one that got a lot of bad reviews. I forgot who the actress is, but I was watching it and it made me want to read the original story, so we're gonna see. I was gonna buy a copy of it just from Barnes & Noble because I have a $50 gift card that I got for Christmas, but they didn't have any editions of it. Like, everything is just Pride and Prejudice or some of her other famous works, so I couldn't actually find Persuasion. Maybe I should check a different website, honestly, now that I think about it, but I really wanted to use my gift card. So if I get to pick that up this month, I'm gonna try to read it as well and hope that doesn't put me into a book slump, because sometimes that does happen with classics. We'll see. If you made it to the end of this video, thank you so much for watching. I really, really appreciate it, and I will see you next week with another book related video. Let me know if you have any requests down below, and until next time, bye.